Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's presentation. This is going to be focused on how leading companies are utilizing dashboards and Power BI to monitor and manage their projects and business KPIs. I'm David Sample. I'm going to be joined by Mike Myers and Tony Constantini. They'll both be showing you our tools that our clients are using to help them stay on top of their budgets, their forecasts, and view results for their projects, their finances, and also organizational performance. We'll probably go about 45 minutes today, maybe 35 to 45 minutes today. And this is really designed to give you a high-level overview of what you can get from JMIS Prime and also our data analytics tool, Power BI. These tools are both designed for visualization, giving you analytics, and both are natively integrated into JMIS Prime. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please go to your GoToWebinar side panel. We will try to answer as many as we can. And for anyone who would like to get more information after the webinar, at the very end, just please let us know and we'll be happy to schedule more in-depth and personal presentation. So with that, again, we'll be focusing on data visualization and analytics tools today that our clients are using to help their own folks manage their business. And as many of us have recently seen, it can be difficult to keep connected to the critical data that your business is operating by, that you use to manage your business when you're not in the office. Fortunately, the tools that we have proved to be quite useful for our clients. The ones that we've provided to our clients, they're really designed for remote operations, which has helped a lot of them, especially in these difficult times. So the customers that we have, they're already using this kind of technology. They're already set up. They've said it's been one of the key factors that's helped them transform themselves into a data-driven organization. One of the things that they said that they needed to facilitate all this transition was a powerful tool, and our modern BI tool set has really helped them do that with all the structured data and tools in place that they can easily and economically take advantage of. In the past, one of the barriers has always been that most of the legacy reporting tools just kind of lack that the technology platform that you need to connect all that data. It just didn't really support the modern approach that people need or power that they need for today. So we'll go through what our customers are using and other government contractors to help them give all their key stakeholders across a whole organization the same view of the same data, maybe in a different angle for their projects and finances, help them manage all this in real time and make data-driven decisions. So first of all, none of this could be possible unless there was a technology platform, a truly modern technology platform that didn't have technology restrictions. So in the government contract world, you never know what technology platform you're going to need to support. So we started with a device agnostic approach that supports all the major browsers and mobile device platforms. Another thing that is important to mention is that businesses are rarely a one-size-fits-all. So we start by providing a very robust set of commonly used out-of-the-box dashboards and analytics for projects, for finances, for project accounting and your organization. So those decision-making processes, so those heads-up are quick and, again, economically easy to implement. We provide most of these out of the box, but they're easy to configure to your own needs. All these analytical and reporting tools help the organization tie the projects, finances, and organizations together across the whole business. And we also give you an unlimited ability to create your own dashboards and analytics or even tie into other data sources if you need. So if you have special KPIs or anything that may be a strategic business objective that's not contained in your financial or project or organizational data, you could tie into those data sources and really come up with your own, visualizations that are multiple, that can access multiple data sources. Microsoft is one of our technology partners. They've got a product called Power BI. Very, very rich data visualization tool, very modern modeling capabilities. Similar to what you'd find in a data warehouse, it's got that kind of power plus these powerful and insightful visualizations that can connect natively to JMIS Prime. Part of the major benefit of Power BI is that it gives you the ability to transform large amount of data into smaller little digestible or actionable tidbits that you can easily utilize and see on dashboards. So we have all that plus all of this project, financial, and organizational and data in JMIS Prime. Again, the native connection to that can give you all that data in a single dashboard, or you can connect to other dashboards outside of your system if you need to. For example, if you need to connect to Salesforce or another database or an Excel spreadsheet or Workday or other sources, you can also do that as well. So now let's take a look at what Gartner is saying about Power BI. This is Gartner's 2020 BI in Analytics Magic Quadrant. And you can see at the very top right-hand corner, they recognize Microsoft as the clear leader in the industry. Nobody's really even close. They surpassed Tableau last year as the #1 solution in the world. And one of the reasons for this is that it's so cost-effective. Very easy to use. It provides the great data visualizations, and best of all for JMIS customers, it's fully integrated with our system. So it even shares the same security model, and again, the economics of implementation and standing this up are very favorable. One of the things that our clients have raved about is it doesn't cost a lot of time or resources to get this going. The out-of-the-box nature of Power BI with JMIS Prime. We share security models, we share user management. We really leverage a lot of things that you've already set up. And next, we've also created a lot of commonly used data models already. So when you get the system, that basically leaves you with just some configuration to get it going, and the process is pretty simple and straightforward. You purchase Microsoft Power BI from Microsoft or another provider, which you can get at a very reasonable price. It's not expensive. Then you select the dashboards you want from the catalog of pre-configured dashboards that we have, and if you need to, you can add or remove dashboard components to suit your needs, and lastly, our BI team gets with you, they connect your data, and you're off and running. One of the things that we hear from our clients is that they like advice on what kind of KPIs they should be tracking. Most government contractors at a minimum will focus on KPIs that help them manage productivity and winning business and improving bid accuracy, in addition to the financial results that you're continuing to monitor. So all of this ultimately leads to better profit margins. And you can also add your own KPIs. As you'd expect, you continually monitor these KPIs and really top-down, flowing from the top down, getting people to manage the KPIs is very important as well. So next, here are actually some of the KPIs that we find most commonly monitored from our customer base. You have AR aging and wrap rate, labor utilization in terms of either hours or dollars. Some people look at it both ways. P&Ls by projects and organizations. Obviously, you want to look at budget versus schedule as well. Backlog, your business pipeline. Those are probably some of the most common ones that we encounter in our customer base. So let's take a look at some of the different use cases that we support, and we'll go through and take a look at some examples of dashboards and analytics available in JMIS Prime and Power BI. We'll start with our project management dashboards and analytics. Then we'll take a look at the financial management dashboard and analytics, and we'll finish up with the organizationally oriented, the project accounting dashboards and analytics. Mike Myers will be showing the dashboards in Prime, and then Tony Constantini will be showing those in Power BI. And we will start with Mike, and I will make Mike the presenter as we start looking at the project management dashboards.
Thanks, Dave.
Great. Thank you, Mike.
Excited to show this. Let's go ahead and log into our system here. So this is our portal that everyone logs into, and then because it is an integrated system, the security controls what you're allowed to see, and obviously I have access to everything. But we wanted to start out with looking at some examples of project manager type of dashboard capabilities within the system. And so one of the ones that is always popular is the ones that we have right up here at the top, which is our percent of funding used. So because we have an integrated system and we capture information about how much funding we have, we know exactly how much has been billed. For us, it's very easy. We have a inquiry that calculates exactly what percent of the funding has been used. So a lot of times it makes it very easy. Instead of having to create reports offline in Excel, just display a dashboard that shows exactly percent of funding used. We also got, backlog and so forth too. One of the other pieces we wanted to show, and this is going to be, it could be on the business, the PM dashboard, but I have it on the business planning dashboard, is looking at some budget versus actual. Again, a nice, easy visualization of where am I at with my forecast versus my actual. Looking at it broken out, I have it broken out by my contracts, but it could be at a lower level too within our WBS. So I can easily key in on those contracts that I might be approaching, using up all the budget for. One of the other pieces, because with being a government contractor and one of your largest expenses is labor, being able to track information about how your employees are working, and we have a couple items associated with that. One of the main things in my engineering department dashboard has to do with utilization. Since our system is integrated, we know every time someone enters a time card or time sheet, we know how many hours they worked. We have attributes on the jobs that they charge. We know whether it's direct or indirect. And so for us, it's very easy to display utilization, in this case, by employee. So I can look at year-to-date utilization by my employees, see which ones, and then, analyze it in deeper if I need to know why that John here is only at 12% working on billable type projects. So again, make it easy to get the data that you need and present it in a way that's easy to understand. We kind of roll it up. I'll show one other one real quickly here, and we'll switch over. My executive dashboard, we have that same utilization, but now it's combined, rolled up at the department level. So instead of looking at the individuals in the engineering department, I'm looking at across my organization, broken out by department, what the departmental utilization is. And so that was all I wanted to show. I'm going to, Dave, if you could switch it over to Tony. I think he wanted to show some items in Power BI.
Thanks, Mike. That was great. Next, Tony's going to be showing Power BI, the contract funding analysis, revenue by contract and customer, and also EAC revenue by contract and customer.
Okay, so what I have here is I have, the program management Power BI model. It's, one of the standard offerings for Power BI, with Jameis. And I'm going to show a few different things that could be shown. It's an information dense model. So one of the reports that we have is a project status report. You could run it by different legs of the WBS. The way this model is constructed is you can run it by different dimensions of the WBS structure. Like, for example, if you wanted a PSR from revenue all the way down to profit, and you want to see a PSR for a particular customer, you have the ability to do that here. So for example, if we go JPL, we can see a PSR for JPL for the month, for the time frame selected. You can see it as summarized as you want or as detailed as you want. So another KPI that Dave mentioned had to do with backlog, percent complete, that sort of thing. So at the backlog analysis here, what you have is you have the ability to see the backlog, and you can see it by different time horizons, what's going to expire in 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and beyond 90 days. You also have the ability, I'll pick on Jet Propulsion Lab, since I picked on them on another screen. And what you can do is you can see the backlog for JPL, and you can see, for the lines of funding, what the backlog is. There's a high level of the spend down of the backlog here. For greater detail of that, if you wanted to see for that particular customer, for JPL, the spend down of the backlog, you can see it by the funding line, if you so choose. Another requirement is 75%. A lot of government contracts, non-fixed price contracts, there is a requirement to report 60 days prior to reaching 75%, provided that business planning is being used. In addition to the core financial suite, you have the ability to look off into the future and see, and I'll pick that same customer, when you're going to reach 75% and which funding lines are going to reach that funding level. All of that is just a click away. So another good project management practice is not only understanding what's actually been expended and recognized in revenue and all that sort and that sort of thing. It's also to understand, where you're going in the future, what your estimate at completion is. So if we look at an EAC, you have you have basically what is a P&L here, and what I want to do is I want to show more detail here. I can go to the highest level of detail, and if I want to see it for JPL, I have the ability to do that. If I want to see more detail here, I can look at it here, go back to the report. But the real value here is not only, what is our estimate at completion, and what is how we're doing against the measuring stick here. It's what are the drivers of the variance for those measuring sticks. So I can see here, we're going to have a shortfall of 103,000 in revenue. I have it by contract here. I can go all the way down to the funding line item to know where the variance is coming from by funding line item. So all of this is a click away, pre-configured, ready to go, once the model is tied to your data. And I'll turn it back to Dave.
Thanks, Tony. Next, Mike is up. He's going to show you financial analysis tools in our system, and focusing on cash balances and revenue by month, and also wrap rate. Mike?
Thanks a lot, Dave. Okay, so now we're looking at another dashboard, and again, we try to present the data in an easy to view way. So, for example, with my cash balance, we have this KPI tile here that just tells me exactly what my cash balance is. If I want to drill into it, and all of our dashboards I can drill into them, now I could get it broken out by exactly what account makes up that amount of my cash balance. My Wells Fargo checking account, I got Deutsche Bank here, I got Bank of Scotland, and so forth. And so being able to see the data without having the traditional way that a lot of older systems that don't have the technology that we do, you would have to run a report to see that. You know, I'd have to run a report to see what my cash balance is. One of the beauties about our platform also is if I look at my dashboard here and I see my cash balance, I can also see this. This is visible on our mobile app. So I can not only do certain things on our app, but we can also include the KPI dashboards and other reports to show up on the mobile app. One of the other things we want to look at, you know, revenue by month, you know, comparative revenue by month. So, you know, we can create charts and graphs. We already have the data since it's all integrated into the system. And now I can present it in a graphical way so we can see exactly how we're doing. One of the other capabilities, because we're a true project-based accounting system, you know, one of the other key metrics that a lot of people want to see that they use is wrap rate. Well, you know, I have a chart here that shows me exactly what my wrap rate is year to date. It's costing me $1.67 to do $1 worth of labor. So I know we have a inquiry that automatically calculates that, and it makes it very easy then to be able to display that for the people that need it. And that is the three that I wanted to go over, Dave.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Next, Tony is going to show additional financial analysis in Power BI, including the balance sheet with time dimension, P&Ls, cash flow trends, and also financial ratios.
Okay, so what I have here is I have a typical comparative balance sheet. And, you know, this is a balance sheet that, you know, since the data is stored in the Power BI cache, you know, it's easy to jump from month to month, not have to continue to run reports. Now, you know, comparing current year and prior year, it's a standard report within JAMIS. Now, one ability that the Power BI model has is being able to quickly show a trend here and quickly jump between quarterly. If I want to see the trend and I want to see it by month, I have the ability to do that. I can see it by month if I so choose. I can choose different time frames. So, you know, with the data being stored in the cache, there's quick interactivity between, you know, if you want to see the data in different ways. So this is a trend balance sheet that I was showing there. There's also a profit and loss. And I have a comparative to prior year here. I also have GL budgets that I have a comparative to. But again, this, you know, you can see the data as summarized as you want, or you can see it as detailed as you want. So if you want to see a trend, same sort of thing. I want to see more detail here. I want to have my quarters and my months, and I can see here profit and loss over the time dimension that I select here. So with the cash flow in JAMIS, there's a standard cash flow that, you know, that comes with the report where you can see the operating activities, that sort of thing. If you want to, you know, see this down to the account level, you have the ability to do it. You know, the chart's even drillable if you want to see, you know, there's a legend for each of these activities, cash at beginning to cash at end. what the Power BI model gives you the ability to do is if you want to see the statement of cash flow, but if you want to see a trend over time, you have the ability to see that. You could see the cash at the very beginning, cash at the end, and you can select whatever time frames you want to do. Also within the Power BI model, you have the ability to you can chart all these ratios if you want, but these are all the ratios that are in the Power BI model, segregated by liquidity ratios, efficiency ratios, and profitability ratios. So as stated, quick click of the mouse if you want to see what the ratios are for a month. You can chart these over time. You can see what the trends are. It's all up to how you want to consume the data, but all this data is contained within the Power BI model. And with that, I'll turn it back to Dave.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tony. Okay, so lastly, we're going to look at our project accounting data, and we're going to start with Mike. He's going to go over contract profitability, rates, actual rates over month, and also profit by employee. Mike?
Well, Tony had some really good charts in the Power BI on profitability. We also have some within the dashboards that we can just place out there too. I just have a very simple one here, contract profitability based on the contracts that I'm in charge of. Our system allows us, we have a pretty robust security model that allows us to set it up once, and I can limit what contracts I could look at based on what I'm allowed to see. So if I'm the PM, I can log in and I only see the contracts that I'm in charge of if you want to use the security that way. So I have, how much funding we have. I have what our total costs are broken out into our cost classes, my total cost, my gross profit, by contract. And then we also include, since we're a true project-based accounting system, we also capture in detail by contract, by job commitments. So if I've issued subcontractor agreements, I've issued purchase orders, and even with the unposted labor, we create commitment records so we can see that, yes, we've spent X amount of dollars for subcontract costs, but we're still going to spend additional amounts because we've issued subcontractor agreements. One of the other capabilities we have within our system is not only to keep track of all the projects, but we also incorporate, being able to calculate what your actual rates are. And that's why I'm going to switch over to my rate management dashboard. Let me switch this for 1 second here to go. We can get some better data in here. And so we have a rate management dashboard that I could look at my year-to-date actual rate broken out by month, by fringe overhead and G&A, and then I could further look at it to look for trends to see how my fringe overhead and G&A rate is trending over time. In addition, we have some KPI tiles that show us, how does this compare to last month? And so it looks like my fringe expenses went down, my overhead expenses went down, and my G&A expenses went up. Again, a very easy way to be able to monitor your rates within our system by using our dashboards. I'm going to end on the one other capability that we have based on the way that our system is designed and the way that we do our project accounting and capture every transaction in detail, allows us, instead of with a lot of older systems and what people are used to be able to get profitability by employee. For us, it's very easy because we have every single transaction in here, and I can add up every single transaction by person to see how much revenue they generated, what our cost was for that person, and then calculate what our profitability is. So instead of having to do a lot of things offline in Excel because your system doesn't have the capabilities to capture this data in detail, we do, and that gives us the ability to very easily present, year-to-date profitability by employee.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. Okay, so lastly, Tony is going to get into the dashboards that we have with Power BI, going into details on some of the P&L by orgs, looking at actuals versus budget by org, and also the forecast versus budget. Tony?
Okay, so what I have here is I have basically the job cost. It's called different things, but let's think of it as an annual operating budget where all the direct and indirect is being budgeted. And let me go to the budget chart. And the budget being, and if you're utilizing business planning, I have clients who utilize business planning, put their annual operating budget, and what they have the ability to do is to see how they're performing against their annual operating budget. That could be seen at the whole company level here. This is the greatest level of detail here. If I want a little more summarized, where I have it by cost class, direct labor instead of all the flavors of direct labor, I have the ability to do that. If I want to see how engineering services is performing, I have the ability to do that. Quick click of a mouse. If I want to see just how the commercial operation is doing within engineering services, I can do that. Let me go here and go to the commercial services. Not a very robust organization. They're performing poorly. Shouldn't have picked them. But what you have the ability to do is you can quickly see by organization how they're performing. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Is worth 1,000 words. Here I can see year to date. I can compare at the key area, the key summary areas here, how they're performing. But if I want the detail, I can see it here. So not only can it's one thing to see, okay, at a point in time, how are we performing against the budget? If the organization is utilizing business planning and the forecast, and the forecast is continually updated in business planning, I have the ability not only to see how we're performing, but what our latest forecast is and how we're going to come in against what our annual operating budget is based on what our forecast is. So this is 6 months of actuals, 6 months of forecast, and you can see here, for a whole organization, we're going to be behind in revenue. We're going to have a miracle at the end of the year, and we're going to come in ahead on profitability. We can see it as summarized or as detailed as we want. But what we can see here is not only how we're performing currently, but how we're going to end the year. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dave.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike and Tony. So this concludes today's presentation on driving key decision-making processes and government contracting with dashboards, KPIs, and Microsoft Power BI. We are, as I mentioned earlier when we started, happy to go into more detail, do a detailed presentation of each of the tools that we've shown to anybody who wants it. Just let us know. We'll set up a time for a more in-depth presentation, personalized to you. So from all of us at JAMIS, thank you and have a great day.